Chris Loder.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I first of all congratulate my honourable friend, the member for St Ives, on securing this very important adjournment debate. And I'm delighted to be able to take part in it, and I'd like to thank him very much indeed. My honourable friend, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I have much in common. We are both members of Parliament from the South West. We both have very rural and coastal constituencies, and we both have fishing and farming communities. But I like to think, Madam Deputy Speaker, that West Dorset maybe leads the way a little bit in education. Of course, I was schooled in Sherborne. It was also the town of the school of Alan Turing, who sold the Enigma code during the Second World War. But this pandemic has touched every aspect of society, and as honourable members well know, we have discussed and debated those extensively. Despite the fact that some have been urging schools to close, not least some unions, can I commend the government and the minister particularly for wanting to keep them open and doing all that he can to do so. But the reality, Madam Deputy Speaker, is that schools and head teachers and their teams are making valiant efforts to continue educating our children, their pupils, no matter what the circumstance they face. Whilst I know school is closed for many children, in West Dorset I have at least one school with 60% of its children who are children of critical workers and or who are those in particular need. I have been in regular contact with the head teachers in my constituency, and I have been consistently in awe of the way they continue to handle the most difficult of situations. COVID testing in schools has been a great logistical challenge, but nonetheless, our schools, particularly those in West Dorset, have been willing to put all those measures in place to carry on. Teachers across the nation, I know, have gone above and beyond to support our young people through the pandemic, which has been, Madam Deputy Speaker, no mean feat. West Dorset schools have made the transition to online learning extraordinarily quickly, thereby ensuring that students do not fall behind. They have kept their doors open for the children of critical workers, as I said, and they have built COVID-secure infrastructure entirely from scratch in many cases. The government has kept schools open for as long as possible to reduce the disruption to education, and I know the decision to close them was one that was not taken lightly at all. Despite the short notice for many of these decisions, teachers in my constituency have been enormously responsive to these changing circumstances. Staff classed as clinically vulnerable or shielding have been unable to go to work, sometimes for their own safety, along with frequent and unfortunately necessary isolations, which have contributed to some staffing arrangements being under pressure. Those staff able to come in have indeed put in extraordinarily long hours, and I commend them all for that. This is despite some of the difficulties they face and some undermining their efforts, writing letters urging teachers and staff to refuse to come to work. We are privileged to have such a committed teaching profession. I've been personally very moved by the many emails and replies from teachers, sharing with me, as I'm sure they have done with my honourable friend, what they have done, the weekends they have given up to prepare for new guidance, new processes and new arrangements. And I would particularly like to make mention to special needs schools who I know have had a particularly tough time. Can I make particular mention of the schools that I know have totally gone above and beyond in delivering education to our children in West Dorset? The Woodruff School in Lyme Regis, the Griffin School in Bedminster, Mountjoy School in Bedminster, the Griffin School in Sherborne, I should say, St Mary's in Bridport, Trent Young's Church of England Primary and St Osmond's Middle School in Dorchester. And there are many, many more that I would like to commend in West Dorset. Unfortunately, I don't have the time this evening to do that. But their work in education, for logistics, for care, for the health and support of their pupils has been absolutely excellent. But going forward, Madam Deputy Speaker, I would just like to ask that the Minister may consider, hopefully in wrapping up, that the vaccination of our teachers is brought higher to the agenda. I know how strongly he and many of his colleagues feel in the department, but I know the teachers who've been in touch with me over the previous weeks would very much value it if he indeed would take that forward. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.